Hey Void, Phoebe Rizzo, still counting down the month, and number 9, which is our third foray into Shudder. And today the dice gave me, well, an older one, and one I hadn't seen before, so okay. Uh, Kill Baby Kill. Now, this is a 1966 Italian horror film. The original title is actually Operazione Paura. My Italian's terrible, so I apologize to any Italians who heard me mangle that. That translates to Operation Fear. Though the movie has many other titles, it's also known as Curse of the Dead in the UK, or Curse of the Living Dead, which was just used to cross promote with a lot of other Living Dead related things. Where when Night of the Living Dead was a hit, they released a bunch of other things that were called Blank of the Living Dead just to capitalize on it, even though they weren't even zombie related. Like Fangs of the Living Dead is a bad vampire flick. And there's a whole bunch. Though it's also goes by the title Don't Walk in the Park, which is interesting because there's no park in this movie at all. But the title issues aside, I think that's all the titles I had on it. Yeah. Kill Baby Kill was actually an interesting watch. Now, at this, it's hard to call this one a scary film by any means, but it does a decent job with atmosphere and just kind of setting up this aura of mystery around everything that's going on. And I thought the film was very effective in that regard. This was directed by Mario Bava, who's kind of a reputation for making subpar films. A lot of the 60s Hercules films that Mystery Science Theater 3000 has riffed were from him. So, yeah. He's got a way up and down track record, but a lot of people have said this is his best film. And I can see why. This is a well put together little tale. And I will say it did have kind of an odd feel to it. It almost felt like a gothic horror soap opera for some of the out there twists and just the way it was filmed. But overall, I still found it enjoyable. So, this follows a coroner who goes to a remote Carpathian village to answer the call of a police detective, who's called him out there to investigate a strange death. And now, apparently, people have been dying here for some time under mysterious circumstances, but the whole village is very superstitious and won't speak to the police, so he's there to essentially try to find a medical thing for what's going on. The villagers finally start opening up a little bit, indicating that a ghost from from the nearby manor is what's been killing people, and seems to be the ghost of a murderous little girl. I will say this little girl has some very creepy shots in here, so she was pretty effective throughout it. Loses a little bit towards the end, but the plot does start. It doesn't. It loses a bit of focus and tightness in the third act, but overall it does a good job. Now he's joined by a medical student who's just come back to this town for the first time in 20 years and to visit the grave of her parents. And her strange connection to the town is also now becoming more relevant as the more people they interact with, well, the more people seem to start dying. And what's up with the creepy old person who lives up in the manor? It's an interesting movie. They say early on that they believe that the ghost is of a little girl who was killed and bled to death in the middle of town. Though they keep some people, though the reason that she died may not be the same one that the people in town are giving. But again, that's another, one of many little twists and turns this film takes. It's atmospheric, but there isn't really too much in terms of gore, even really that much in terms of, well, there's a little bit of blood here or there. I mean, Hugo seems to be able to force people to kill themselves, so there are a couple deaths that were interesting to see, and to see how people were terrified of what's going on. Now, this version was a dubbed version, but the dubbing was actually done fairly well, I thought. At least for in terms of the actors were at least trying. I've seen a lot of terribly dubbed movies, so it was. I couldn't. At first, I had to watch it a little while just to notice that things weren't syncing up before I realized this was an Italian film. Um, so it's an interesting little piece of horror history more than a frightening film, and I don't know if a lot of people would get as much out of this as I did. I found this one interesting, but I could see people finding it dull. It is considered a classic, but I know that a lot of things, particularly in the horror genre, don't hold up nearly as well under scrutiny many years later. Personally, I found this one entertaining, but it is kind of a slow-moving film, and like I said, it kind of feels soap opera-y sometimes. For me, I'm going to give this one 3 MacGuffins, but it's a little bit on the lower end. So I've been kind of ranking the movies throughout the month, and I'll probably give some sort of a countdown, or at least the top 10, bottom 10, something like that. So far, this one's kind of in the middle. I don't know if I have too much else to say other than a decent old school flick about a creepy little girl haunting a town. Alright. So, Kill Baby Kill. 3 MacGuffins. And we're going to be back to Netflix tomorrow, so which means I'm probably going to get something more modern and more tailored directly to my preferences. So most of my Netflix ones have been kind of on the higher end, so I'll probably get a good one. Well, see you guys then.